This is the Wheelchair Prophet. We're getting ready tonight to talk to you about 2658 through 2660 Delmar and aka 2628 Delmar, Scott Joplin's old house. Hold on. Here's some blue magic as we get ready for this Westside show.
Before the show begins, my friends, stand in line. I hope you will, my friends. And I always hope this is proceed.
You see, you can't listen to this kind of music and not sing along with it. Y'all just don't know what y'all missing with all that Roger Troutman, T-Pain, Trey Songz, Nicki Minaj trying to sing. You believe that? We gonna get back to the Westside show.
So bad, so bad, so bad.
Wheelchair Prophet wants to talk to you about tonight. We want to talk about the antebellum. Would you touch your neighbor as you ride and glide on the south side? Maybe you on the north side. I don't know. Maybe you on the east side. That's across the river down here, St. Louis, because ain't no East St. Louis across that bridge. It's downtown. Ali, next time you so hoods, get your hoods right. Don't forget them niggas downtown on the DST, down in O'Fallon and down in Car Square Village. That ain't no east side, baby. That's downtown. That's the beginning of the loose. You don't hear me? We want to talk about the antebellum. There's so much going on in St. Louis politics down here. They killing our neighborhoods down here just like they doing y'all everywhere else. And they trying to push you out and push you back to the Coldwater Flats. We want to talk about what it means to be from rags to ragtime. You see, Scott Joplin was a slave who became a free man. Listen, that was like going from a snake to a grimy rat. You hear me? Not that Scott was bad, but Scott was the Tupac and the Fred Hampton of his day. Do you listen to this man's music, where he playing this happy music, even though he was considered 1% of a human, no more than a baboon? He was still under the black codes and the Jim Crow and the slave codes. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Listen, we can't let the Wheelchair Prophet rewind that. And so, you see, Scott Joplin is the metaphorical example of the reality of the struggle that we do not see in standard curriculum. In order to understand St. Louis City as one of the last states in which this particular city was a member to submit to the industrial economical future of the North. So don't get it twisted. Slavery and ragtime and rag rags to ragtime was not about the essence of humans and humanity to inhumanity to humanity. It was about what it's all about now, why they over there with Gaddafi. And listen, Obama is my people, but he's trying to pimp up there. Did you see the latest front page news of the St. Louis Post on March the 29th of 2011? Obama say we done stopped him from hurting so many people that we cannot take Gaddafi out. That's like telling me that you don't mean no harm in what you about to say, and you ain't trying to hurt nobody, but I'm a nigga. Listen, we got a pimp in the White House. I don't mean that Obama is pimping nobody, but Obama, he can't come here with that game like you been on that scissor and that lean. Now, what I'm trying to say is, you can't believe everything you hear, and you never give up your independent thinking because Obama is in the White House. Listen, this is freedom of speech. But have you ever considered this as the infinite question with this particular matter of Obama attacking the motherland of our Afrocentric heritage, Libya, which is one of the strongest essence of the dark continent? Leaders, did you see Gaddafi in his Shaka Zulu outfit? Y'all ain't feeling me. You know, I'm just so tired of the Europeans going over to these cultures who are ancient cultures, who are mentioned in the Bible. And these Europeans are saying they are bringing the evolution of democracy. What Bush said when he lied on Saddam. Man hung that man. You hear me? I'm keeping it 100 in the paint. Just tell me one thing. What part of real you niggas just don't understand? This is the Westside show with that wheelchair prophet. Clean up off the Westside and clean up off the beginning of St. Louis, which is not the East End, but just the beginning, downtown. And Scott Joplin, the Tupac of slavery and freemanship. Scott Joplin, that ragtime nigga, Maple Leaf. With that being said, 5512 Maple, Port McKay, Westside, sold off. Booyah. Hallelujah. Now, this is the wheelchair prophet. We back from the expressions of Scott Joplin. Now, we want to, around here, just keep it academically correct, being a pre-graduate schoolmaster, mastering the weaning stage through preschool, through kindergarten, up to elementary of the 8th grade world, elementary summa cum laude. Here we go.
Slavery is a system of forced labor that has existed throughout the world for thousands of years. In America, Slavery began in the 17th century when people in Africa were overpowered and forced to leave their native land, their culture, and their families behind.
Europeans and others did not simply march into Africa and just take people off. I mean, there were battles, there were wars that were lost, by the British, by the French, by the Portuguese, as well as those which were won. You had males and females leading forces against the enslavers.
Europeans responded by coercing one tribe to enslave another, threatening to arm their enemies with terrifying new weapons if they did not cooperate. These tribal slave traders selected strong, healthy males and females between the ages
always a rat,
although children were often captured as well. The African captives were chained together at the ankle or wrist, or linked at the neck by a wooden yoke. Once bound, the captives embarked on a grueling march, sometimes as long as 600 miles to the coast, where European ships awaited them. Many perished from the rigors of the trip. Others resisted their captors and were killed. The Atlantic crossing took from 4 to 8 weeks. Men, women, and children were crowded into tightly
down there at that port of Baton Rouge, where little Boosie LaTorrance hatched, and his mama and his daddy down there with Grandmama Hatch, L.I.P. Grandmama Hatch. Let's get some real history.
They attempted to escape on ships by simply, if the opportunity offered itself, by leaping off and drowning or whatever. Once they were bound by the continental United States, the protest took the form more of insurrection.
The first slaves in the American colonies, a cargo of about 20 Africans, arrived at Jamestown, Virginia in 1619. The number of enslaved Africans increased steadily each year. By 1763, the colonial population included an estimated 230,000 Africans, most of them slaves in the South.
A slave was someone who could be forced to work from the age of 8, 6, 4 even, long hours at tasks that someone else decided.
That's when I started working down at Scott Joplin's house in the Coldwater Flats, chopping wood, going around to Site Service Station there on Jefferson and Delmar to get coal oil, because we didn't have no heat in the house, but a coal oil stove and a potbelly wood stove. And I know about chopping kindling, and I know about selling rags and bottles down there, working, cleaning yards, 8 years old.
1793, Eli Whitney developed the cotton gin, a machine that cleaned cotton 5 times faster than manual methods. As a result, more slaves were needed to pick and haul the cotton. By 1860, there would be 4 million African slaves in the United States. As African slaves toiled in the fields, laws were created to enforce their low status. They were prohibited from participating in lawsuits, from owning property or firearms, and from possessing alcohol. Most states did not recognize slave marriages and often prohibited slaves from learning to read and write. The treatment slaves received from their masters varied tremendously. Some owners were brutal sadists who worked their slaves mercilessly and threatened them with corporal discipline so painful that it amounted to torture.
And if you were ordered to do a task that you knew would be dangerous to you, you had to do it. So even though it's tempting to put poverty and slavery together, they were very different. And the difference is that enslaved workers had no rights.
A slave had no protection from this mistreatment.
That's why homosexuals can't jump on this bandwagon. You booty bandits can't get on this bandwagon about no civil rights for you and Bruce to lay up and hug with Bob and Benny.
Slaves developed an independent culture.
And I ain't hating. More power to you. Just no homo over here.